welcome to the new P500 outlook for, I'm assuming, March. It's the end of February, but anyways, the end of February. Well, yeah, we're close. So, here we go. What I'm excited about, actually, before we get into the games, there's a piece of news by Gene, and it talks about him and Kai Jensen having conversations concerning Chad Jensen's unfinished games. So they're working on this. Kai is a designer and developer herself, so she can do this, you know. And yeah, I'm looking forward to that. That's the good news. Here we go. So the first thing, as I said, and I'm excited for it, is Fields of Fire, the Bulge campaign. That's an expansion of the Fields of Fire system. So this is Fields of Fire, the Bulge campaign. This is designed by Ben Hull, and if I'm not mistaken, Jason Carr will be in development also. And to date orders, I'm gonna tell you this now. So the orders to date, 378. That's it? I want this. 378. I'm never gonna get it. Come on. Yeah. Anyways, so that's great. So the next thing that's happening here is Hannibal's Revenge. This is the second game in the Card Conquest series, a game designed by Mark G. McLaughlin. If I'm not mistaken, he just did Napoleon. Mark McLaughlin's Napoleon. I don't know who publishes it, but anyways, so Hannibal's Revenge. This is a card game, and it's a second card game, and let me see here. What you get with this is 117 by 22-inch mounted map, 54 conflict cards, 72 Hannibal Revenge event cards, 16 leader cards, dice, wooden counters, player aid sheet, solitaire player aid sheet, rules of play manual, and a playbook. Complexity is low, solitaire suitability is sky high. So, here we go. And the next one is Mons 1914. So, orders to date, 150. So this just came out, so you know what I'm saying? So Mons 1914, The Mad Minute, is the second game in the Rifle and Spade series, first used in Gallipoli, 1915, Churchill's Greatest Gamble. So this is a game designed by Jeffrey Phipps, and what you get with this game is two 22 by 34-inch maps, 5.5 standard counter sheets, 1,540 counters, wooden colored cubes, rule book, game book, setup book, numerous charts, player aids, army organization. Complexity is medium, solitaire suitability is medium high. Alright, this is going pretty good here, man. So, okay, the next one we're gonna check out is Vietnam 1965 GMT edition. Okay. Orders to date, 447. Come on, give some love to the Ben Hull there of Fields of Fire. I need it. Okay, so this is Vietnam 1965 to 1975. I guess that's the whole shebang. Designed by Nick Karp and developed by Mitchell Land and Ralph Shelton. So, what we get with this game, you get a 3-inch box, 3 22 by 34-inch maps, rulebook, playbook, player aid cards, seasonal interface, folding operations player aid cards, 4 sheets of counters, and 2 sheets of half-inch counters. The previous ones are 9/16 of an inch. Complexity is in the low area, and solitaire suitability is low. Right, so this is a game by Nick Karp. Alright, and for the recent additions in the P500, just maybe a couple of weeks back, very happy to see the CDG solo system by STUKAJOE, and it's going to be STUKAJOE and Kevin Kun. I'm assuming Kevin Kun will be the developer. Also, In the Shadows, French Resistance 1943 to 1944. Looks combat commander-ish. And Prime Minister, so CDG Solo System, 1,280 orders. The In the Shadows French Resistant, 387 orders. And Prime Minister, 439 orders. I don't know right now. I can't go on the website. Check it out on GMT's website to see who the designers are. We obviously know who the publisher is, and that is GMT. Next, Command and Colors Medieval. And this is the Mid-Eastern Battles #1, the Crusades expansion #1, 787 orders. Obviously, this is a Richard Borg design. And Skies Above Britain, 659 orders. Jeremy White and Gina, I forget her name, sorry Gina. Space Empires, All Good Things, meaning coming to an end. So I just had an interview not long ago with Jim Crone, super nice guy. And he said this was the end. He's wrapping it all up with 1,176 orders, and then no more Space Empire. I'm telling you, get it now, get that whole series now, because, yeah. Okay, next, Mike Bertuccelli's Wolfpack, the North Atlantic Convoy Struggles, October 1941 to March 1943. So there are 608 orders for Mike Bertuccelli's. Mike Bertuccelli's famous for Tank Duel, for his game. Next, Great Battles of Julius Caesar, Deluxe Edition, 989 orders. Hubris, Morgan Guyon, Red Sea, Twilight of the Hellenistic World, 587 orders. Is that going to be the cover? Looks kind of cool, but they gotta change the pale background under Hubris. Anyways, and this is what I'm excited for too, Red Dust Rebellion. This is a coin game. I forget the guy's name, but he does the 3-minute board game explanation. Excellent. The guy from New Zealand, excellent, fantastic. And he's doing a coin game, right? This is coin 13, if I'm not mistaken. And there's 1,481 orders, and it takes place on Mars. See? There's a psychological block with me and coin. I don't know. Maybe it's because I know Morgan, and I know Volco, other people who did coins. Everybody here in Quebec, they flip over coins. And there's quite a few designers that are going to come out, coin-wise, that is. Yeah, so I'm intimidated by these guys. You know, they're all highbrow, they're smart, hoof-noof-noo, they're whatever. And not that 3-minute board guy isn't. I'm just saying it's the subject of the game, right? It doesn't intimidate me. The other ones, they intimidate me because of facts. Maybe I'm wrong, but fear. There's nothing to fear but fear itself. Well, that's what's happening. Okay, so that was that for that. And here we go with the last one of the not super new P500, but recent. Cantomonta, The Rise of Fernand and Isabel, 707 orders. Mike Denson's The Last 100 Yards, Volume 3, The Solomon Islands expansion. I hear that's a great series, 562 orders. Sal Vasta's Unconditional Surrender expansion, Western Campaigns, 497 orders. You want Sal's game? You want to buy Sal's game? Up the orders. Salerno 43. Look, I can't even see who the designer is, but I'm guessing it's Mark Simonich with 1,386 orders. Man, this guy Mark could put out his laundry list and it would sell. Anyways, that's good for that. And I want to do something here, okay? And let's put it in the comments below. What are you gonna win? Nothing. Let's see how a Nostradamus we people are. So, new P500s on the horizon. So, whoever wrote this, I'm assuming Gene, Tony, Rachel, blah blah, Jason. Here's a brief tease for the P500. So, obviously, he tells us that the Hannibal's Revenge, Fields of Fire, the Bulge campaign. Come on, huh? Seriously, don't embarrass me. And then he says, He's not going to tell us everything. Too bad. And he's going to tell you over the next 6 months, he anticipates that they will add, let's see if we can guess this, there are 5 of them. Game number 1 in our new irregular conflict series set in India. A new strategy game of 15th century Japan. I'm interested. A new game designed by Mark Herman and Jeff Engelstein. But game number 2 in our new irregular conflict series inspired by English fiction. English fiction? And a new Great Battles of the American Civil War expansion for Death Valley. Okay, there's 5 of them. Let's see if we can guess. The irregular conflict series set in India, for me, I have no idea. New strategy game, 15th century Japan. New strategy game. I have no idea. A new game by Mark Herman, Jeff Engelstein. It's a political something. I hate your guts diplomatically game. I'm sure. Game number 2 in irregular conflict series. I have no idea. The new Great Battles of American Civil War expansion for Death Valley. Don't know. Anyways, that's GMT's new newsletter. Outlook.
Hello, this is Riccardo Masini, and this time the greatest day in history and games is March the 2nd, 1946, the day when longtime independence and communist leader Ho Chi Minh was formally elected President of the Democratic Republic of Vietnam. Ho Chi Minh truly is a fascinating character. Born in 1890, his father was a Confucian teacher and later became an imperial magistrate, connecting religion and power in the young Ho's mind. Ho Chi Minh had quite eventful life, traveling abroad in the United States and in Europe, doing many small jobs as a sailor, a cook and a waiter. But fate was waiting for him. Young Ho was deeply engaged in politics, joining or even founding many movements who struggled for decolonization and independence of Vietnam. Actually, in 1919, while he was living in Paris, he asked for an audience to the Versailles Treaty negotiations to explain his cause to the European powers, but it was denied. Undeterred, Ho Chi Minh leaned more and more towards socialism, and in 1923 he began a long residence in the Soviet Union, where he made contact with many prominent political figures of the Politburo. From there, in 1938, he was sent to China to support the communist forces operating there. In 1941, Ho Chi Minh came back to Vietnam, where he rapidly took the lead of the communist faction, the Viet Minh. After the abdication of the Vietnamese emperor, Ho read the Declaration of Independence of his country and began to fight his internal political enemy, up to his formal election as president in 1946. After having ruthlessly dispensed with Trotskyists and nationalists opponents as well, Ho reinforced his grip on the country and while simultaneously fighting the French, still in formal control of Indochina. The war against the French was bitter and long, fought with relentless guerrilla actions and culminating with the Great Siege of Dien Bien Phu. But at last, in 1954, the Geneva Accords were signed and Vietnam was free. Or rather, the two new Vietnams, Communist North and US-supported South, were free. The reunification of the entire country became the main goal of Ho Chi Minh's politics, then a total struggle which gradually led to military escalation and finally to the US intervention in the new Vietnam War. Now, we all know what happened. Ho Chi Minh and his generals conducted a skillful political and military campaign, gaining the moral high ground before the international public opinion, using nearby Cambodia and Laos as staging bases for the conventional offensives, supporting non-conventional formations of southern communists, the Viet Cong, and disrupting the already weak and corrupted South Vietnam regime. All the might of the US military and the courage of South Vietnam troops could not win such a long war of attrition, coupled with an untenable political position, and so Vietnam was in the end unified under the flag of the Communist North. Ho Chi Minh was not there for the victory, though. In 1969, the president died of a heart attack, leaving behind him a mixed legacy: social reformer and responsible for countless massacres on political opponents and civilian population alike, hero of the decolonization movement and leader in one of the most cruel wars of human history. There are many games focused on the Vietnam War, actually Ho Chi Minh's war. One of them is Hearts and Minds, the second edition of a classic Worthington title by Compass Games. With new components and some minor revisions on the rules, especially regarding the Soldier module, Hearts and Minds is an uncomplicated card-driven wargame that captures both the military and political struggle of the conflict. As the Vietnamese, you'll have to wreak havoc in the South and undermine the US will to fight, increasing the pressure on the American internal public opinion. It will not be easy, because you'll have to resist the devastating consequences of going against all the US military and economic might. As the United States, you'll have to somehow keep the South together and repel the constant northern offensives, all the while fighting against the formidable and elusive Viet Cong formations, knowing that each tactical success could actually lead to a final strategic defeat. Turn by turn, at each card taken from specially constructed gear decks, the players will have to choose between fighting on the battlefields or in the international political arena, a very difficult series of challenges such as those faced by Ho Chi Minh himself. So, that's it for this time. See you in the next battlefields. Ciao!
The Grognard of the Year, Jim Ozarski, continues Project Quatre Bras 5, in which La Salle 2 will be featured. Ladies and gentlemen, let's all go over to Jan Heinemann's Let's Play History Game channel, because he's playing every single possible game, digital game that is, war game, on the market today. Yeah, some of them in German, some of them in English. But I'll tell you something, it's Wednesday, and I still have 2 days of filming. The wargame artist, Matt White. People, the majority of the art on this show is from Matt. Pretty soon it's going to be all Matt's. So I'm just lazy to do stuff. But anyways, we're talking about Matt White, not about me. He has 2 videos out: The Shores of Tripoli War Game Review and Memoir 44 East Front Expansion. Don't let that sweet face rule you. There's a killer inside. Stephen Dolges plays The Fall of the Third Reich, a game published by Compass Games, a new direction in game. Ooh, we're getting some heavies happening here on Hex to Hex with a Barbarossa, Kiev to Rostov, 1941, a game by Vance von Boris, published by GMT, artwork by Roger B. McGowan. He's doing campaign turn 30. Try to say that 5 times. Turn 30. Ding turtle. Joel Toppin continues his Command and Colors Ancients playthrough from expansion number 3 called the Battle of Pharsalus. Rough Swordsman's Wargamer has an Open the Bags, lock and load player aids and administrative counters. Also, Open the Box, Not a Wargame Wednesday. Legendary. I think that's... What's that movie? Aliens, yeah. I played that legendary game. I had a blast. And Mo of Mo's Game Table has 2 videos out so far this week. 1, Solitaire Caesar. This is a game by White Dog Games, if I'm not mistaken. And also, Whiskey Charlie with the Strong Man of War Games, Rob Oren. Check it out. Counterproductive Games is comparing some World War II naval rule sets that he has, and also unboxing D-Day and Beyond from Tiny Battle Publishing. This is a new game. Check it out and get it while it's hot. And also a classic gaming with CV from Yaquinto Games. What's in the box? I don't want to say anything, but I don't know what CV is. I'm looking, and yeah, CV. Well, CV ain't Counterproductive Games. So I'm sorry, I can't help you. And Tony of Tony's Board Life continues his playthrough of Charlemagne, Master of Europe, Turn 1, Part 2. Ben Hirsch of Harsh Rules gives us a rules breakdown of Fast Action Battles, The Bulge, Part 4, a game published by GMT. Seek Out and Play checks out Vento Nuovo's Leningrad 41. This is a history. Excellent game. And the Gentlemen of the Player's Aid, I must be polite in this time of crisis, are previewing Judean Hammer from Catastrophe Games, and also Empire of the Sun, Basic Training Episode 1, Card Anatomy. I'm assuming it's Card Anatomy because it's got Card Anato ... But I went on the video before and I don't want to go back, so yeah. Combat Board Games is unboxing Patton's Best from Avalon Hill. This is one of the games that I played quite a bit when I was young. Ask me a question about the rules today, forget about it.
Hello everyone, this is Michel Leviathan-Sorbet from the Polish YouTube channel Wojennick TV. Thank you again for your invitation, Dan, and as during the last weeks, I'd like to briefly tell you what was published on our channel during the past week. Just like a week before, 2 non-war gaming movies, so I'll just briefly explain what they were about. The first one was the review of the collectible card game Rage the Apocalypse, published back in 1995. I know that a lot of people in the US or in Canada still own and play this game, so maybe some of you will be interested. Secondly, on Friday, a totally non-wargaming topic, Montmartre, a review of a Euro game, which I also acquired some time ago and that I decided to present on my channel. But now, speaking of wargames, I had 2 videos published during last week. Last Sunday, I presented a playthrough of 262, published by Taktyka i Strategia. 262 is a game focused on the Messerschmitt 262 Schwalbe, the first jet fighter operationally used during a conflict. And this is a game which allows us to recreate dogfights with this machine during World War II. We have 4 scenarios in the main game. There was supposed to be additional scenarios published also on the publisher's website. This is a very easy to learn game with the 262 as its main actor, and so this is a game interesting from this point of view because the Messerschmitt 262 is my absolutely favorite machine, my absolutely favorite plane from World War II. So I was extremely excited when the news about this game was published, and I acquired it almost instantly. So today, last Sunday, I presented a playthrough of this title. So if you're interested to see how this game works, you can take a look. The second wargaming topic of last week was the unboxing of Bitwa o Włocławek 1920, the Battle of Włocławek. Now this is an interesting project because normally when we speak of 1920 we instantly think of the Battle of Warsaw, and that's correct because that was the major clash during the Polish-Soviet War fought in 1920. But apart from this battle we had several other clashes, and one of them was the Bolshevik offensive towards Włocławek. The Bolsheviks tried to take Włocławek and to create a bridgehead on the other side of the Vistula River, but they were repulsed. So this was a Polish victory. The Polish managed to successfully defend the city against the Bolshevik offensive, and the battle was fought during the same time that the Warsaw Battle was taking place. So an interesting game, an interesting subject, because this battle was not covered in wargaming up until now. Now it is possible to recreate it. So if you're interested in taking a look at how the components of this title, take a look at our channel. That's it from me. I had 4 movies during last week, as I said earlier. 2 of them were wargaming movies, 1 in English, that is the review of Rage the Apocalypse. I wish you a fantastic week and see you next time.
And Devin DOG, the original Grognard, does an unboxing on a new legacy, diplomatic, and narrative-driven game called The King's Dilemma. Kevin of the Big Board has a new series introduction and ideation chat with Warty Robe, Todd. And the great STUKAJOE continues his playthrough of The Line of Khartoum, Turn 12, and also next playthrough video series. Wayne Hansen checks out America Bomber, designed by Greg Smith and published by Compass Games. And the Chief of Bonding with Board Games has 2 videos out, the first one being Chief's Vlog, The Joy of Gaming and People, and Seth, also the review of Battle for Kursk, The Tigers Are Burning, 1943, a game by Trevor Bender in C3I Magazine. The man famously known as Calandale Enrico Viglino continues his playthrough of Blood Royale, a game designed by Derek Carver and Paul Coburn, published by Games Workshop Limited. ID Jester has Tony's Board Life Rough Swordsman Wargamer and Mike Bertuccelli, and they're having a Tank Duel Multiplayer Challenge Part 2.
Sir, Il Duce reporting for duty. This week, I will be playing Ig Magnificent style again. Finally got the Kickstarter. This is the newer version, bigger map, cards instead of chits. Like Bayonet combat had changed a little bit. I could see there's a few more events. I played it twice already this past week and haven't done very well, but that's how this game works. Push your luck. Sometimes you gotta push, sometimes you gotta hold. Magnificent's pick a charge. Be playing that this week for sure. And on the same Kickstarter, a lot of us got 2 games. I finally got Freeman's Farm 1777. Recommended over time. I love the block style games, the simplicity of these Worthington games. Though slowly getting in more complexity as I get more and more into war games here. So I'll be playing this one. I'm a huge fan of the time period, and many of you seen this bad boy right here. It is a war game, people. It's John J. Rambo, and I'll be taking him through the first movie. This is the first, the game for the first movie. They have a bigger game that I think covers all of them. This is a huge box. However, the game could fit in 1/4 of that box, so I don't know why they went with the bigger box. But looks very simple, looks fun, and so I'll be trying this one out too this week. Take care.
And Mark Walker of Flying Pig Games and Tiny Battle Publishing graces the news with 2 videos, and kind of special because the 65 Squad game published by Mark, I think under Flying Pig Games, is actually played in Vietnam, and Vietnamese gentlemen are playing this game. Check it out. And Dad vs. Son continues his magnum opus. Magnum opus, skip opus. He continues his magnum opus of Stalingrad 42. The full campaign. He's up to turn 13. Lock and Load Publishing and the OG Devin Heinel and Heroes of the Pacific, a Lock and Load tactical DLC. A tactical digital release. It's new! Heroes of the Pacific! Get it? And the Discriminating Gamer is giving the once over to David Townsend's by Stealth and Sea, a game published by DVG. And Stigler does his A Stigler for Details number 11. He's uploading a new module to Vassal. What may it be? Pray tell.
Hey guys, Dave here. Welcome to the Centurions Review, the punk rock band of Wargame Review Institutions. First thing we did on YouTube is a first look at Dungeons & Dragons, the original brown box. Actually, it's called the wood box from 1974. It's got 3 volumes in it. Check it out so you can see what original D&D looks like. And then on YouTube, we also did a first look at Combat Veteran from Modern War Magazine, number 31. This looks pretty interesting. It has 2 games in it. There's a Vietnam and a Afghanistan game. And then I also created a very simple video game. It's called Survival on a Forgotten World. It's on my website. I'll put the URL on the screen. It's basically about a pilot who gets shot down and it lands on some forgotten world, and he has to make his way back to civilization. He gets attacked by dinosaurs and stuff on the way. It's a very simple hex and chit game. I'll put the URL on the screen. Please note that the word survival in the URL has a capital S in it. And then I did Chronicles of Davis, number 8. And this episode, Davis and his band, the Misfits, have to escort a Coatl to a celestial library on a world called Farain. They took a portal to get there. On the way there, the Coatl gives them some bad news that they have to stop to meet the diva at a set of ruins. So the coatl can get permission to go to the library. But check it out. It's a really cool episode. And have a good evening.
Hello all, today Kilroy goes off the shelf on Columbia Games. Now Columbia Games was founded in 1972 and one of their first games was Quebec 1759. And what they're known for is block war games. And what you got with a Columbia block war game was a box, actually a box sleeve that showed the cover art and a description of the game. Then you had a nondescript box, and in that nondescript box, you got blocks. I kept mine in Ziploc bags to seal in the freshness. You also get dice, you get rules, and you get a board. Now, the board is not mounted. It is cardboard, but it does serve its purpose. The key feature of a block war game is the blocks. And the blocks serve really kind of three main purposes. Number one, it keeps track of your steps. So when you take a loss or take a hit, you rotate it, and eventually when you take the last hit, it is off the board. When it is on the board, it serves the second purpose of it gives you some tactile feel. This is, different than having a stack of counters. You'll see a group of blocks and give you an impression of, well, how many's in that force? You don't know exactly what's in the force until you attack it and then see what's on that side, because on the flip side is it's blank. And so when you're sitting across the table, all you see is a group of blocks and you need to attack it to find out. Now, the next game that I have is from 1974 when they came out with Napoleon, the Waterloo campaign. Now, this isn't the original game from 74. I believe this is like the third edition, which actually added a lot more blocks. But unfortunately, they have a smaller map. So when you put the counters or the blocks on the map, it got really crowded. They gave you a little battle board to put your units on for combat, but you put them back on the board after the combat, whoever survived. And so what you ended up doing, you had a very, very cluttered map. And this was a point-to-point kind of map, which used the road systems or networks to do your attacks. So that was kind of a big complaint about this. I believe in the fourth edition, they came out with a bigger map. The other thing that they added was they added leaders. So you actually had, here's Napoleon, and you have your standard, step loss blocks. The next thing that I have is from 1994, which is their card games. Now, in the 90s, early 90s, collectible card games with Magic and Pokemon was all the rage. And, I keep my cards in the sleeve because I collected, Magic cards and other collectible card games. And also, this was a holdover from when I collected baseball cards. But they came out with 3 Civil War games, Bull Run, Shiloh, and Gettysburg, and they also came out with Eagles, which dealt with the battle surrounding Waterloo. And these were basically the cards you would set up into 3 ranks. You would have a right flank and a left flank, and then a center flank, and then you roll dice for the combat and get hits. But it had somewhat of a collectible nature. When you bought the packs, you didn't know exactly what cards you were going to get. Eventually, you could buy the whole sets. But this was my first introduction to Columbia Games. I actually bought this card games first before I got into their war games or their boxed games. The next one that came out for me, at least that I have in my collection, is Hammer of the Scots from 2002. Now, this is their highest ranked game on Board Game Geek, and kind of spawned a whole series of games that they have after that. Because one of the things they introduced in, well, they might have introduced it earlier, but at least in Hammer of Scots, they had action cards. So you have these action cards and events that you could kind of play, and that determined your movement or actions through the turn, and then you did your combat. And again, it had the blocks. Here's good old William Wallace, but you had your step blocks as well. And this, as you can see, is more of an area different from Napoleon. This is more of an area movement map. There was also seasons and other things that came into this game, but that is Hammer of the Scots. The next one that I have is Liberté, which dealt with the American Revolution. And as you can see here, this one has hexes, and it still had your card system for actions, but they had, instead of events, they had like these supply cards, which served a purpose. And then, of course, you have your blocks with their step loss as well. But as you can see here, there's hexes on the board, which is a little bit different from the area movement from Hammer of the Scots. The next one I have is Crusader Rex, which came out in 2005. And as you can see here, this goes back to the point-to-point kind of movement that you have here. It kept the action cards and events, and then, of course, you have your blocks with the step loss on it, and kind of the really nice art. Another thing I should mention on block war games, they come with stickers. You have to put stickers on them before you can play. And this dealt with the Crusades, hence the name Crusader Rex. The next one I have is Athens and Sparta. This game right here. And as you can see here, they went back to the hexes. And this one, again, had the action cards and events on them. And then you also had, of course, your blocks and with the step losses. Now, this game is very asymmetrical because the nature of the conflict between Athens and Sparta, because the Athenians had a very strong naval force, and so they're going to command the seas, and the Spartans had a very powerful land force, and so they're going to be stronger on land, and so it's a very asymmetrical battle. The last thing that I have here is the Harn map. Now, this isn't a block war game, but what this is a role-playing universe that Columbia has. They have this Harn system or Harn universe, and there's a lot of role-playing elements or systems or modules to that, and I have some of those as well. So that is a review of Columbia games off my shelf. I hope you enjoyed.
Grab your favorite Wedgwood bone china tea set, because Beyond Solitaire, Liz is hosting podcast episode 35 with Megan Norcia, I'm assuming, on Gaming Empire. And for our Italian podcast listeners, Mauro Faina with Il Gianni Zero Nero, episode 52 checks out Nevsky. Hey, look at that. Another week, another show. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe. Please like and comment. Especially that GMT thing I did, like guess the games. Comment. Let's do something. Let's have fun. COVID, you know what I'm saying? And please support this channel through Patreon. War Coach Games. And he sent me, this is a card game. It sincerely lasts 10 minutes. It's a Civil War commander, and he calls himself War Coach Games. This is Steve Pearson, and they last 10 minutes. And you know what? After a while, young children, you start reading the text and you start getting into the Civil War because there's text, flavor text. So, easy game, but hey, I'm all for it. Same thing here. This is a solo game. The other one was a two-player game. This is a tactical operations solo game, and 10 minutes, man. Same thing. And they make Bible War game. They make a Bible War game. So ancient biblical combat, probably the same system. I haven't even opened it yet, and it's Israel versus Philistia. So, and people learn about the Bible. Alright, so, thanks. I'm gonna be with Herman Lettman next Sunday. Something's coming out. I think it's gonna be in magnificent style. We're gonna talk about it, but I think something else is coming out. That's on In Conversation. And that's it, man. Have a good weekend. Take it easy. Drink water. Breathe air. Bye.
Congratulations, men, on your last mission. Here's your next one. Today's target is the airfield at Abbeville in occupied France. Your bomber will be in the middle position. Your squadron will be flying at about 25,000 feet. It will be the middle squadron. Now let me show you where this target is located. It is here in Zone 3, right across the channel. We expect very little resistance in Zone 2, but heavy resistance in Zone 3. You will have good fighter cover. Abbeville is the base of some of the finest fighter squadrons in the German Air Force, so they're going to defend it tooth and nail. So remember to stay in formation, follow your captain's instructions, and good luck. At around 0900 hours, the review copy takes off. It enters the protection of Zone 1. And then flies into Zone 2, where it has good fighter cover. The Germans managed to send one wave after the bomber formation. The enemy fighters make contact. A single Focke-Wulf 190 heads in the direction of our bomber. The bandit, undetected by our fighter escorts, starts a vertical dive. The radio operator, Derek Case, fires away, but misses. Next, Jimmy Castelli at the top turret fires, but fails to score a hit. The diving German fighter has the bomber in its sights and fires away. The Focke-Wulf scores one hit. The hit goes through the wing into the landing gear, damaging the brakes, which will be sorely needed when landing at base. The Focke-Wulf returns for another pass and approaches our bomber from the 1030 level position. The fighter cover fails to divert the bandit. The gunners prepare for another round of combat, but realize that only one of them has an angle to the bandit, and that is the navigator, Keb Hibshot. At the port cheek machine gun, he fires away, but misses. The fighter approaches and fires, but fails to score a single hit. He flies across. The tail gunner is waiting for him, but misses. The bandit leaves for home. The review copy enters the target zone, where the weather is good. Fighter cover is also good. The Germans do fight for this one and send two waves of fighters after the bomber formation. The first wave makes contact. 4 Focke-Wulf 190s approach our bomber. They attack from multiple angles: 9, 12, 130, and 3 o'clock. Our fighter cover appears and drives 3 of the 4 bandits away. Our crew prepares to deal with the remaining bandit at 3 o'clock low. The ball gunner, Joe Stedman, fires his twin machine gun and misses. Next, Lefty Clawland spray fires the bandit, but the Focke-Wulf continues to approach to deliver its attack. The German fires. 4 hits are scored, including 2 in the fully loaded bomb bay. Miraculously, none of the bomb bay hits detonate the bombs. A hit in the rudder section manages to damage it, but it is operational. and the hit in the waist area only causes superficial damage. The lone Focke-Wulf comes back for another round. This time from the 12 o'clock low position. Good fighter cover, however, drives it away. Next, the second fighter wave makes contact with the bomber formation. This time, 3 Focke-Wulf 190s head our way, approaching our bomber from the 10:30, 12 o'clock, and 1:30 positions. Fighter cover manages to turn 2 of the fighters away. Our gunners prepare yet for another attack. The port waist gunner, Jason Young, fires his machine gun, but fails to hit. Next is Jimmy Castelli at the top turret. He fires and also misses. Now the navigator, Kev Hipshot, fires away to no effect. The German pilot moves in for the kill and hits, but the damage is superficial. The Focke-Wulf flies across our bomber and the tail gunner fires at the other side, but fails to hit. The Focke-Wulf returns for another round, this time from the 9 o'clock low position. Fighter cover is good, and it manages to drive the bandit away. Having dealt with the second wave, our bomber flies over target. Flak is light. And the review copy is not affected by any flak hit. The crew prepares for the bomb run. The result of the bomb run is that the bomber is on target. The bombardier, Marco Arnaudo, sets his sights and releases the bombs. %40 land on target. Our bomber now turns to head back home. The Germans, however, have other plans and send 2 fighter waves after the bomber formation. The first fighter wave makes contact. 1 Focke-Wulf and 3 109s. 3 bandits in the 12 o'clock position and 1 at 10:30. Good fighter cover, however, manages to drive 2 of the 4 away. Our tired crew prepares again for another round of combat. First to fire is the ball gunner Joe Stedman at the 12 o'clock low bandit. He hits, and the bandit goes down in a ball of flames. This is Sergeant Stedman's first kill. With only 1 bandit remaining, the bombardier Marco Arnaudo fires away, but misses. The German closes in for the attack. He fires and also misses. The German continues flying across, and the tail gunner fires, but also misses. The German leaves for home. Having survived the first wave, now our boys have to face the second. 3 Focke-Wulfs. Coming in from 12 and 3 o'clock. Fighter cover appears and manages to drive all 3 away from our bomber. Our crew sighs in relief. Our bomber continues and flies into Zone 2, where the fighter cover is also good, and the Germans send no more planes. Our bomber continues and enters Zone 1. The weather is also good, and having damaged its brakes, they prepare for a landing. Landing is successful, and our bomber and crew return safely home. Our bomber and crew came very close to destruction in this mission, but they succeeded dropping 40% of bombs on target. Sergeant Stedman had his first kill, and the result of the mission was a victory, the second for the review copy in B-17, Queen of the Sky.